So I'm back with another video today, and if you guessed correctly, it is another Colourpop palette. I was mistaken when I said there are 2 palettes left. In total, there's actually 4. Well, now it's gonna be 3, as I am making a look with one of the 4 palettes that I have left. The 2 was only the Colourpop palettes that I have left to look for, and I'm creating a look with this one, and then I have to create a look with the Not a Box of Chocolates palette from Colourpop. Then all my Colourpop palettes are done, and then I have one from Glamlight, and I'm waiting for the Lotus Cosmetics one to come. But the thing about it is, it says it's still at the post office. It was supposed to come on the 13th, and it didn't. It also didn't specify any specific time of day on the 13th that it was coming, and it's been 3 days since then, and no update. Still says it's in the post office. USPS has not picked it up, and we literally got a USPS delivery for something else today, so hopefully it's just a delay and it didn't get lost or anything, because I really want that palette to come so I can do a look. It is a very beautiful palette. But today, this palette, if I did not already mention, is Avatar: The Last Airbender palette. I'm going to show you how to create this fiery look on your eyes. I did incorporate shades from 3 of the 4. Oh wow, I was already prepared with the 4 fingers. I meant there are 4 elements, and I incorporated 3 of the 4 rows of colors to create this fiery look, because I did take one shade from the Earth Kingdom shade, all 3 shades from the Fire Nation shade, and I somehow figured out how to incorporate all 3 from the Fire Nation, and then I took 2 from the Air Nation or Air Temple shades, and then I took that Air Blast shade. So basically I'm going to describe to you the shades I used and what the Colourpop website describes them as. So starting with my transition shade, I took the shade Air Temple, and basically Air Temple is just described as this Maddie, now I'm saying a name, or I meant to say matte mustard shade. And the matte mustard shade is like this yellowish shade over here. So I'm just gonna show you a close-up of this palette. Oh, it got out of frame and I just knocked stuff over. Wonderful. So basically I used this shade, that Air Temple shade, as my transition shade, and I'm just going to repeat the same thing I did on my left eye and show it to you on my right eye now. So take Air Temple, and you're just going to put it over here and in the crease, and then about halfway through the crease you stop, and then you start building it up so that way it goes above the crease. I had to add a little bit more mustard to this side before I went on camera, so that way it could really go above the crease. Then you're just gonna not wing it out. I'm just gonna fix it. So basically you're not gonna wing it out, because I'm going to use that orange shade Fire Nation next to wing it out. And the shade Fire Nation is this satiny one, or satin shade, I believe. I don't think it's exactly a sparkle, as it did act as a matte. And I'm just looking for the shade name so I could explain the shade to you. So Fire Nation is a matte burnt red orange with gold pinpoints in it. I'm just gonna say satin because that's what it is. It acts like a matte and the sparkles don't show up, so I'm just gonna take it and wing it out. So this gold pinpoints do show up if you perhaps build it up a little bit, but it doesn't show as much, so it acts more of a matte. And that's why I think it's their satin shade, if I'm not incorrect, but if I'm correct. And I'm just gonna fix the wing over here. Then what I did to make the wing sharp enough is I went in with an angled brush and dipped into that Fire Nation shade, and then I made the sharp part of the wing when winging it out. Now the wing is nice and sharp. You do not have to you don't need to use the angled brush, but I just use the angled brush so I can get the sharp wing faster and more seamlessly. And sometimes it does work with the packing brush, depending on which eye I'm using it on, but sometimes if it's my harder eye to work on, it does not want to create a sharp wing on that eye. I just use the angled brush as a backup. That orange was brought out too far over here. Just gonna clean it up, fix the wing on the top, and then you're finished with the wings part. And basically, I'm just gonna fix this wing, make it a little bit thicker. Alright, so that wing is fixed on my left eye, and then for my outer V shade, I go back in with the same packing brush I used for Air Temple. Now I'm going to use the shade Comet, and basically this is the shade Comet, and Comet is just described as a matte vivid crimson color, so that's just gonna deepen my outer V. I'm just gonna keep it in here in my crease, just push it in my crease and in my outer V area, not above my crease, as you still want to see that Air Temple shade. Take it about partly a little bit less than where you just took that yellow shade, not partly halfway, but just less than halfway, a little bit less than halfway, leaving the rest of this area for that Air Temple shade. And then after those shades, what you're gonna do is take the shimmer shades. So now I'm gonna switch brushes. I'm just going to put the palette down so I can show you guys the brush. So it's just gonna be this tiny brush. I like using it for shimmers, but first I'm gonna go in with my finger to get the initial placement. I'm going to use the shade Quicksand. So this shade over here is described as a metallic antique gold shade, and it's such a beautiful golden shade. And I'm just going to take that partly throughout my lid so I can leave room for my other shimmer shade. I'm just gonna go in with my finger now, as I did go in with the brush just a little bit, just to help blend it on this outer edge. Now I'm gonna build it up with my finger, and then to intensify it even more, pick it up with a brush again and take my setting spray from Milk Cosmetics and just work that over where I initially placed the shimmer. Now it gives it a more foiled look. Just work on blending it in a little bit more into these mattes. And then on the rest of my lid with the same brush, again first with the finger and then with a dry brush, or dry brush first and then finger, I'm going to take the shade Dancing Dragon. It's this middle shade over here, and Dancing Dragon is just described as a metallic, vibrant brick red shade. I'm just gonna put that on the rest of my lids over here, and then I'm gonna go into a brush. No, I'm not gonna go into a brush. I'm gonna go in with a brush, and then I'm going to spray it again. Once or twice, depending what I feel like. Just blend that into the gold. And I think I brought this up too high, so I'm just gonna fix that. Now that it's fixed, I'm going to go in with my inner corner highlight. But first, I don't want that reddish shade mixing in, so I'm just gonna clean it with my cotton rounds because I do not have the Sigma switch to take off the pigmentation. So I am just working with what I have. Just gonna make sure that I take that orangey shade or reddish shade off, whichever shade decided to go in my inner corner, because I don't want the shades mixing. Now for my inner corner, I'm just gonna go in with the shade Air Blast, and Air Blast is just described as a metallic champagne color. Again, because this is my inner corner, I'm not going to go in with my finger, but I'm going to go in with a dry brush first and then a wet brush. Build it up with a dry brush first. Get the initial placement and blend it in to my inner corner shade. I might blend my inner corner shade into that, where that red finished, which is over here, and just keep blending it until I like the blendability that I get. Now I'm gonna go back into Air Blast again, but this time with a wet brush. And then again, just work on blending it until I get the blendability I like. Work on getting that on over here. Just a little bit more. Alright guys, so this is the look that I have created using my avatar the Last Airbender Colourpop palette, and this is just a close-up of the cover, the beautiful cover. We have Aang and his lemur Momo. It opens up like a book, and then you have the color story inside, the beautiful color story. I will be doing multiple looks with all my palettes, meaning that this palette will be done as soon as I finish doing looks for all 4 of the elements. First element I did was the Fire Nation or fiery inspired look. Then I will do the Water Tribe look or water inspired look, and so I have water, air, and earth left. I don't know if that's the order I'm going to do them in, as I'm just going to jump around and not even do the elements in the order that they are in the palette or the order in which Avatar The Last Airbender show says it when they're introducing the elements, because today I just felt inspired to do a fire look. Another day I might just be inspired to do air instead of earth, who knows. But these are the colors that spoke to me, and it does scream Fire Nation or fiery. So they did have all the colors I wanted in this palette to create a fiery like look. They had that mustard yellow, the orange, the crimson red, they had the red and gold shimmer or red brick red shimmer, and then that antique gold shimmer. So before I go, I'm just going to mention the products I have on my lips, if I can find where they went. Oh, it's right behind my mirror. And I just have my KVD Everlasting Hyperlight liquid lipstick in the shade Quicksand Rose 30, and this is only exclusive online, so you can't get it in stores or in person. You can get it on the KVD website, at Ulta I think maybe, and most likely Sephora. So I know KVD and Sephora online websites, you can get them on those websites. I have to double check if you can get it at Ulta, because I believe if you can, I will link all 3 of those down below, just for whoever wants to buy it at that specific website, they can click on that link. And then on top of that, I'm just wearing my So Glassy lip gloss in the shade Cut Loose. You have seen me wear this lip gloss alone, now you have seen me wear it with my favorite lipstick color or liquid lipstick color. And then off camera, I've also combined the Midnight Flocks KVD Everlasting Hyperlight liquid lipstick with the So Glassy. This is a dark shade. It is a very dark shade. It's like a burgundy plum shade. So because it is a dark shade, it does get patchy, and you do have to kind of tap it or build it up in certain areas, but not just enough to get opaque, but not too much, because it can get cracky and dry. So that is why I prefer the Kaleidos formula, because I do have the black liquid lipstick from Kaleidos, but I haven't tried any of their other darker colors to see if it does get patchy, and if you do build it up, if it gets cracky or dry. But I know with KVD it does. That is why I like having different liquid lipstick formulas. And then the darkest shade I have for my Rare Beauty Lip Souffle doesn't get patchy that much, if because it has a doe foot applicator different than this. It has like the doe foot applicator that's like a teardrop and a space in the middle like, I don't know how to explain it. It's, you know, something in the middle that holds the product together, and it just makes it so that way you can do it in one swipe without having to re-dip. And that is the pigmentation of it, is that it's not as patchy or not patchy at all compared to other dark liquid lipstick formulas I've tried. But I still love the colors, so I still work around it and I still wear it. So a book that I'm currently reading is the Percy Jackson books. It is the first book I am reading, so I am reading The Lightning Thief. Percy Jackson has 5 books. The books are different than the movies, I can say. I've watched the movies many times, but never read the books, so this is the first time I am reading the books. And there are events in the book that have happened that I don't remember happening at all in the movies. So it's interesting to see a different perspective. So yeah, that is something I just wanted to throw into my makeup video. Even though it's a makeup tutorial video, I just wanted to mention a book I'm currently reading. And for any bookworms out there, I just wanted to know some of my interest, or even if you're not a bookworm, but just wanted to know my interest and wanted to know a little bit more about me or my favorite fandom. There you go. And that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and more videos will be coming soon. So please like, subscribe, and hit the notification down bell below. Bye guys.